Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99 back with some hashtag CB99 talks. Make sure y'all subscribe. I just want to do my weekend wrap, talk about Vasyl Lomachenko versus Luke Campbell. First off, Vasyl Lomachenko, he did win this fight. I know it was a very tough competitive fight, but it was a fight that he really had to fight for to win. And I really don't agree with the judges' scorecards. I was just looking at the scorecards again, man, and I was like, man, what fight were they watching, man? And at the same time, Tim Bradley, boy, he been getting on my skin with his little commentating as of lately and just some of the things he's been saying. And I really feel like they were just ignoring a lot of the stuff that Luke Campbell was getting done. Except for Andre Ward, I think he was kind of fair on what he saw. And for me, man, just looking at this fight, it was a different texture for Lomachenko, and it really shows me that this was a different look for him. The more he steps up in competition and as far as weight, the fights are going to get harder. But, that's what we like to see in a champion. We want to see them in tough fights. But one thing I want to say is that I really don't see this matrix or this wizardry that a lot of people are saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, when I watch him, I see a good fighter. And the more and more I watch him, I just see a good fighter that's really able to adapt and, take that one step level over the competition he's fighting, which is something you got to do if you are a champion. There are good champions, and then there are those guys that are just like beyond gifted that we've seen greatness in, like what we've seen in prime Roy Jones and prime Floyd Mayweather. But a lot of the stuff with the commentating was just getting on my nerves, man. Just a lot of the words they use associated with Lomachenko to make him seem even better than guys like Manny or Floyd Mayweather. Just stuff like Tim Bradley was saying, oh man, like Lomachenko, he's downloading information. He's downloading right now. I mean, shit, every fighter does that. Every fighter's in there feeling a guy out in the very first round. But in the very first round, you're making it seem like he's some type of like human computer just downloading information right then. I'm like, Andre Ward did that stuff. Floyd Mayweather did that stuff. But for some reason, y'all guys didn't use those words with them. It was always just like, oh, he's feeling them out, or oh, he's having trouble the first round, or oh, Floyd, he's going to adjust later, but he's having trouble now. But it's always like word association. You really got to look at words on how they really want to push a champion or a certain type of champion. You really got to look at the words they use. Like with Loma, it's always he's the Matrix. And like I said, when you get in the ring, it's always like he's downloading. They try to use big words and like more intellect with a guy like him. Just even like the little things, man. It was just like getting on my nerves, like pushing him out there to be something bigger than he already is. But just my little rant, man, at the beginning of this video. But yeah, I just want to go back and actually talk about the fight, the actual texture of the fight, and how close it was. But first off, man, I got to say that the first half of this fight, it was competitive. I had it 3-3. Some people might say I'm crazy, but I had it tied up, after the first 6 rounds. I felt like Luke Campbell was using a lot of stuff. He was using a lot of tools that Lomachenko wasn't used to. He was using his own movement the first few rounds, his footwork and his hands. The left hands he was landing, he was using some long left hands that Lomachenko wasn't used to. Body shots, he was giving and taking body shots. The reach, just a lot of this stuff I feel like he had, that Lomachenko hadn't seen before. So he was making it competitive. I felt like the rounds that Luke Campbell was winning, he was edging out and he was really having a tough time to win. But the rounds that Loma won, of course he won. I feel like the rounds that he was putting in the bag, he was really putting in the bag. But Luke Campbell, he was really fighting to win the rounds he won. And I feel like Luke Campbell, he won 1, 2, and 6, in my opinion. And Lomachenko, he did win the other 3 rounds. But, Luke, he was able to edge these rounds out, but he really had to work for him. So just looking back at the fight, man, like, yeah, the first round, it was really just kind of like a feeling out round. It's the round where Tim Bradley said, oh, yeah, he's downloading information. But while he's downloading, I feel like Luke Campbell was getting Loma's attention with the with his own movement. He was using a lot of movement with his hands, kind of like feinting with his jab, and just trying to stay on the outside, get a feel of what Loma was doing, which is good. You got to take the round that the other fighter, the other champion, is staying busy in. So on the outside, he was able to kind of stay on the outside, throw a few jabs here and there, and he was set up a good left hand and cracked Loma and got his attention. He landed a good left hand in the first round. And, it was enough to take the round because, like I said, he landed a few shots. Loma wasn't really doing too much. Second round, again, another feeling out round for Loma where I feel like Luke Campbell, he was staying on top of it. He was landing a few body shots here and there and getting his left hand going. and he was able to take another round. But as Loma got more settled in round 3 and 4, I feel like that's where Lomachenko was making more adjustments, and he was being a little bit more in and out. And to get his jab going, I like what he was doing. He was stepping in. He was stepping in to the right. He was stepping to the side at an angle to his right, and he would kind of smother Luke Campbell's left hand. So as he stepped in, he would take away the power of the left hand, and he would double jab Luke Campbell in the head. He would double jab and then kind of step out, and then he would kind of keep doing this, just in and out movement with the jab and stepping in. So those were little good adjustments I saw that he made in 3 and 4, but it wasn't really like intimidating Luke Campbell yet. Luke Campbell was still staying in there. But round 5, this was probably the round where I would say like Campbell was being a little bit more competitive. Round 5, I feel like he was in there just kind of using his own left hand, and he was keeping Loma back. Loma did crack him with a good left hand though, man. Like towards the end of the round, Loma he cracked him with a good left hand, and then after that, he jumped on with a series of hooks to the head and to the body, and I almost thought he had Luke Campbell out of there in the 5th round, because like I said, like Luke was staying in there with some back and forth action, but Lomachenko was just always one step ahead. And then when he stepped it up and landed like a good left hand in the corner, Luke Campbell stepped in the back to his back to the ropes, and then Lomachenko fired off like 2 hooks to the body, 2 hooks to the head, and then he went right back to the body and was just like stabbing Luke Campbell with some body shots. I almost thought Luke Campbell went out of there, but the bell saved him. So when the bell saved him, you could kind of see him walking back. He was kind of like leaning forward, because the shots was hurting. I saw Loma look back, and I know Loma see that he did have him hurt. So I have to give Luke Campbell credit again, man, because he stayed in there. I think if it maybe been like 20 more seconds in the round, he probably would have went down from the body shot or maybe got stopped. But 6th round, this is where I feel like Campbell, he kind of gained his footing back. And this was one of those key moments where I said like Loma's not really a good finisher either, because like, you had him hurt to the body in that 5th round. You should have, stayed on it. This is where Luke Campbell kind of came back. He started scraping Loma to the body a little bit more. And every time Loma would step in and try to land something, he would land 2 shots of his own and try to step out. Where I feel like Loma stole the round on the judges' scorecard for real, but I feel like the pace of the 6th round, I would have to favor to Luke Campbell. I feel like he did the better work throughout the whole round, but towards that end of the round, I feel like what the judges saw, they would have gave the round to Lomachenko. So for me, I felt like 1, 2, and 6 definitely went to Luke Campbell. Like I said, he was fighting for it. He was really fighting for it though. He was really like edging these rounds out, where Lomachenko did win his 3 rounds. But second half of the fight, again, man, another competitive half. This second half, though, kind of definitely favored Loma with the knockdown and just the beatdowns in several of the rounds with the body shots. But 7th round, man, Luke, he started off right, man. He got back into the fight, and, he was using his own movement. He kind of had his hands down, was kind of, stepping side to side, with the shoulder, kind of using more feints. And he started timing Loma as he stepped in. He got a few good headshots off, too, to Loma. Loma, I could kind of see him reacting. These shots were really starting to get Loma's respect a little bit. But as Loma stepped in one time near the ropes, whenever Luke Campbell had his back to the ropes, Loma he got cracked with a good straight left hand, and you could see that Loma was hurt. Lomachenko was hurt there, and again, Luke Campbell, he just needed that other level, because he wasn't able to score a knockdown. He probably could have got a knockdown if he would have stayed on it, but he let Lomachenko tie him up. And then after that, like when they got into the center of the ring, Lomachenko, he came back with a good right hook, cracked him. And then Luke Campbell was rocked. He went back into the rope, got hit with a good onslaught of body shots and head shots. And again, this was another round where I gave to Luke Campbell because he did the better work throughout like the first 2 minutes. But the judges, again, they probably saw that last onslaught, and they probably gave it to Lomachenko again, man. But that was another round I had to give. So actually, Luke Campbell was up 4 rounds to 3 by round 7. Call me crazy, but that's what I had. Rounds 8, 9, and 10, man, really Lomachenko was just putting better pressure on Luke Campbell. The double jab. Now, like I said, he was kind of walking him down at 8 and 9, and there were some good body exchanges. But Loma was committing more to the body. He would go right hook, left hook, kind of as Luke Campbell would step back, he would double jab him right into the head. So Luke Campbell wasn't really using his range as well either, man. At this point, he was kind of getting a little bit frustrated. You know, he didn't make that adjustment to try to jab Lomachenko to the head and to the chest and try to keep his head out of the way of the jab. Like, the one thing you got to do with a guy who moves a lot as a tall, rangy fighter is you know, use timing. You know, you got to use timing. You got to be able to stand on the outside and keep him completely out of your range, and just use that long jab. You know, you got to hit that guy to the head and to the chest and to the body, and that's something Luke Campbell kind of abandoned. You know, here and there he was landing good body shots, but he wasn't committing anymore to, you know, good work on the inside. Loma was actually walking him down and taking advantage of that long torso. You know, he was really hitting him with some good shots. But by round 11, man, I almost thought it was over. Loma just walked Luke Campbell down the majority of this round and like hit him with a good straight left hand upstairs. And that's the one that kind of got his attention, because then like Luke Campbell kind of backed into the ropes again, and two good shots to the body. It was like a left, a right hook to the body, and then he went back upstairs and hit him with the right hand, and then just like stabbed Luke Campbell to the body, and he went down, man. And I almost thought it was out. Again, man, got to give him credit, man. He was really taking these good shots. So got back up. Lomachenko, I thought he was about to finish him, but again, like I said, he's not really a good finisher, man. And you know, Luke Campbell was able to make it out of another round. Last round, again, that was another Loma round. I feel like he was just boxing from the outside here, and again, just being real comfortable. And again, like a lot of people, like they were saying, you know, that he's the best as far as boxing from the outside. But of course, if this was Mayweather or Keith Thurman, you know, doing what he was doing, they would call it running. Of course, like, you know, there was a lot of times that Lomachenko was just taking breathers in there and then really try to like jump on him at this point. So that was kind of like the one thing I didn't like. I kind of felt like Loma could have closed the show here, because Luke Campbell was really hurt in the 11th round, and like if he would just kept stabbing him to the body, he probably could have got him out of there. So there was a lot of unnecessary movement from Lomachenko and a lot of unnecessary boxing at this point. At this point, I felt like he could have closed the show, but you know, I think he was kind of weary of Luke Campbell's power, because you know, even after the fight, he said Luke Campbell could hit hard. So I feel like, yeah, I think that he really did get the respect from Lomachenko in this fight. From that's Luke Campbell I'm talking about. But yeah, man, overall, it was a good fight, but it was a good, entertaining fight. But I felt like, you know, Lomachenko, he was just in there with another guy that didn't know how to step it up to that next gear. But at the same time, it shows you that Lomachenko, he's slowing down a little bit. And to me, I felt like he was using a lot of unnecessary movement to get the job done. You know, there was a lot of openings there where he could have closed the show early in the fight, round 5. Even round 9 and 10, but he just kind of stayed on the outside and made more rounds of trouble for himself. Just looking at the judges' scorecard too, man. 119 to 108 twice, 118 to 109, 118 to 109. I thought that was bullshit too, man. I was just like, man, this fight was closer. I at least had it like 7-5. I had it 7-5, just about. Maybe 8-4. If you say 8-4, I can agree with that, but definitely like 7-5. I felt like Luke Campbell, he did make it competitive first half. He would squeak out rounds. He would really work for those rounds that he won. And yeah, I think he just gave Loma just a lot of different looks, man. But yeah, all in all, man, like it was just like a good fight on this level of good fighters for these two good fighters. But like I said, Lomachenko, man, like everybody just saying this pound for pound business where like he's like over. Like himself, he said he's over Terrence Crawford and Canelo. I just don't see that, man. I just don't see it in him. And again, like I said, the bias commentating gets on my nerves a little bit, man. Like just zooming in on like Lomachenko's footwork all the time. Like they wouldn't really do that stuff with Mayweather, but like to them, it's like, oh, this is like something great, or like really, you know, just something like eye catching. Where I was just like, he's just moving too much at moments, whereas a lot of times he was just using a lot of excessive footwork, man. Like he didn't need to do all that. You know, there could have just been like little slight angles he could have did, but he was just stepping out of the way or overusing the footwork. You know, where a lot of people, like I said, they would call it running. But yeah, man, like overall, it was just a good, entertaining fight. But like I said, it was closer than it was. It was a lot competitive. From here, I'll probably do another video, you know, just talking about a lot of the guys that are licking their chops now. They smell blood in Lomachenko. You know, everybody from Tank Davis to Devin Haney, you know, they're all seeing something. You know, the winner of Richard Comey and Teofimo, they're probably going to want to step in there with Lomachenko next. But Lomachenko, he's a tough guy. I give him that. Like I said, he's not the greatest, but he is a tough guy that can make adjustments and stay in there. Like just the little things he was doing with his jab. He would step inside of the range, double jab, Luke Campbell. So I give him that. He knows how to fight. And that's something he's going to have to do more of. Now he's, 33? I'm starting to see wear and tear. Like I said, he uses his feet a lot, but when the footwork goes, you're going to have to be in there slugging it out more. And I think that's when he's going to become more of an open target. But, yeah, man, like I said, good entertaining fight. Let me know in the comment section what y'all thought of the fight. Where do you think Lomachenko rates is like in the top 5 or top 10 of the pound for pound list to y'all? How great is it to y'all? Who do you want to see him fight next from here? But yeah, that's all I got on this one, guys. Make sure y'all subscribe. #CB99 Talks, Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Peace.